you.
Give me some tea on this Thursday.
Well, Ron Jeremy is in a lot of trouble right now. Because back in 2006 and other years, he sexually groped women. And I never actually thought about it, but I saw a photo where, now I remember he picked me up one time, and I was shocked. I didn't know him at the time, and like my ass was showing in the photo. You'll see me like trying to cover, but when I think about it, he did this to me at a red carpet, because I didn't, I've seen Ron Jeremy like a couple of times on red carpets, and every time he would come up and kiss and grope on you. And
are you saying Ron Jeremy sexually assaulted you?
I hate to say it like that, but he did pick me up, and I was very shocked by it. You can actually look in the photo that I'm like trying to cover, because especially back at that time, I didn't even like to show my ass.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess because Ron Jeremy is always very handsy, and about 50 women have come out. But you know what I also...
Did you say 50? I thought it was only 4.
No, on TMZ now they said it's like 50. Yeah. And the number is going up and up. You have to remember how many... Because I went and looked at some of his photos, and you can look in the photos and see at a lot of pictures, a lot of women look very uncomfortable. Because, he has his hand on your ass, and... because back then, men could do whatever they wanted to women, and they got away with it. It was just like Harvey Weinstein.
So I was minding my business, being nosy on the internet, doing my research, and I came across this story about Ron Jeremy, the disgraced former porn actor. And I thought, I remember him. I remember there was a lot of allegations against him. And so on the 15th of April 2025, a settlement was reached by Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Mark H. Epstein's courtroom. I believe he's the same judge that was involved in the Tony Busby Jay-Z case, which is probably why I came across it. So there's been an agreement between multiple Jane Does alleging that Ron Jeremy attacked them in bathrooms and back rooms of the Sunset Strip venue, the Rainbow Rooms, in 2016, which means a formal dismissal hearing is now set for July 2nd in the Santa Monica courthouse. And this is according to journalist Dominic Patton in Deadline. He said no specifics were given, but a substantial amount was paid out to the plaintiffs. Now, if you go and look on YouTube, a lot of channels and podcasts seem to be confused, because what happened was Jeremy was arrested in June 2020 and indicted a couple of years later on 33 rape and sexual assault counts by the LA County DA office, which could have resulted in 300 years behind bars if found guilty. But you know what happened? Jeremy's case never went to trial due to an acute case of dementia, aka incurable neurocognitive decline, and the 72-year-old actor was moved to a state mental health facility in 2023 for what will likely be the rest of his life. And the thing is, he's still locked up. He just hasn't had a trial. Now that to me does not mean he's not guilty, and the fact that the venue where these incidents, not all of them, but some of them took place, have paid out to the victims in order to settle the case. This is a venue that just celebrated its 53rd anniversary. Why would they pay out money if these crimes never took place? On August 28, 2023, 2 women were alleging that veteran porn actor Ron Jeremy sexually assaulted them at the Rainbow Bar and Grill, and are suing the Sunset Strip landmark for negligence in maintaining a safe environment for their female patrons. Defendant Rockin' Horse Inc. and Does 1 through 100 inclusive knowingly allowed a sexual predator into their bar time and time again and allowed him a dungeon, the employee restroom, for committing heinous sexual acts against defendants' female patrons. The August 21 complaint filed on behalf of Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2 in Los Angeles Superior Court against the owners of the Rainbow bluntly claims. Now, according to this lawsuit, which I can leave in the description a link to, Rainbow Bar and Grill's Yelp page and other social media pages have multiple photos of Ron Jeremy with patrons at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. They actually used him to promote their venue. This is a factual allegation that Ron Jeremy is a well-known pornographic actor, and Rainbow Bar and Grill employees would give permission and would knowingly allow Ron Jeremy to use the employees' restroom to sexually assault female patrons. Emily J. Sullivan, a former employee at Rainbow Bar, has publicly stated Ron Jeremy was there so frequently and so often that the people that worked there knew him well, and he was able to use his knowledge of the people that worked there and his knowledge of that restaurant to help him to commit the sexual assaults. On August 19th, 2021, Ron Jeremy was indicted with more than 30 counts of SA. The transcript from the grand jury proceedings mentions at least 5 sexual assaults that took place at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. One woman, referred to as Jane Doe 4 in the grand jury transcript, testified that Ron Jeremy eyed her in the bathroom of the Rainbow Bar. Video evidence corroborated Ron Jeremy entering the bathroom with the woman. Ron Jeremy admitted to having taken nude photos of the woman in the bathroom. However, he denied the R-word accusations. Another woman, Jane Doe 2, in the grand jury transcript, testified she was assaulted by Ron Jeremy at Rainbow Bar while her husband waited for her. She was with her husband at Rainbow Bar when she met Ron Jeremy. She wanted to use the bathroom but was told that they were inaccessible because it was near closing time. Ron Jeremy told her he knew of a bathroom she could use. He then proceeded to follow her into the bathroom and watched her urinate. Then he pressed his and against her. She was afraid. She protested and told Ron Jeremy, "I just need to leave. My husband's waiting. He probably wonders where I am. I'm just a mum. I have kids at home." Referencing grand jury testimony that led to Jeremy's arrest on multiple R-word charges in 2020, the lawyers representing these clients are seeking damages for their victims. Now, some people might be thinking that Ron Jeremy was getting on a bit at this time these allegations were made, but there is a lot of video footage of him on YouTube from before and even after these allegations were made. And you can see exactly how he was behaving when he was out on the street. In this clip, which looks like it was taken by a friend, he acts like he's taking his trousers down.
Watch this. Watch this. Kaylee.
Oh my God, Ron, don't do that. You're going to be arrested.
That looks funny, doesn't it?
No, it looks like you're gonna be arrested. Like some perverted old keeper, like that flasher, sunset flasher.
I'll take it. But isn't that great story though?
You should have Ron be the freaking.
They did a quid pro quo. He said Black Hotel hit the facts, you tell me
Ron,
facts.
you gotta go.
One last thing.
That is literally outside the venue where these assaults were apparently taking place. And that was in 2019. It's just so weird that at that age he was just hanging around a bar trying to have sex with women every night. And I've made this point before that there's a difference between assaulting someone and having sex. It seems like he's going there at the end of the night or late in the night looking for his next victim that he could take into his secret bathroom. Would anyone have let this happen if he wasn't seen as a celebrity, wanting to be seen as this like super stud, which clearly he wasn't? He literally made no effort with his appearance as well, and there's quite a lot of accounts saying that he smelled, he had terrible body odor. There's another clip of him going to this red carpet thing for a skincare line for Vicky Galvinson from The Real Housewives of Orange County. It's just kind of sad. because he used to be seen as this like big icon. He is standing there patiently waiting to get his picture taken by the paparazzi on the step and repeat board for a skincare line for Real Housewives. Like, are you that desperate to still think you're famous?
I'm gonna go over this way.
At the start of the trial, his lawyer said that he had no doubt that he was innocent, and his argument really was that as a porn star, he'd slept with 4,000 women and everyone knew who he was. He didn't need to use force.
Everyone knows who Ron Jeremy is. He's been with over 4,000 women the past 40 years, and he claims he's running ahead of Wilt Chamberlain in that arena. There's absolutely no reason for him to ever be aggressive with women. He's had more women than you can count. He's absolutely innocent of the charges. It's not a close call.
Taking the entirety of this case, the allegations, the age of the victims, the potential for there to be some very damning character evidence against Ron Jeremy, how do you think this trial could play out?
Well, first of all, I think it's an interesting case in the sense that you have the defense making statements publicly already that he is a porn star. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records, I believe, for having been in so many. He would never, someone like him doesn't have to do this. This is an absurd defense. If they go into the courtroom with this, it falls flat. We're dealing with ages of 15 and up. If there's any type of trafficking claim alleged for those 15-year-olds, there is no statute of limitations. He is going to have to hear each one of these victims appear in court and lay the story out regarding the various assaults. And from what the prosecution has been saying, some of these are pretty egregious, outrageous situations, both in public and in private places. His trial is going to be an uphill battle for the defense.
So I saw that Ron Jeremy got arrested. 2011 Tampa Night Moves. I was washing my hands at the bathroom at the hotel that we were hosting the awards at. It was on downtime, so there were no actual events happening at that moment. Ron Jeremy came into the women's bathroom. He lifted up my skirt and proceeded to put his penis inside of me without consent. I told him I had a tampon in, and he said, "Don't worry, honey, I won't take long." He came inside of me, and he left. Now, at the time, I'm going to have to continue this video because I have 3 seconds until it shuts off. Now, at the time, I was an active drinker and drug user. I was in the middle of a heinous cocaine addiction, and I was a drunk. My whole life was about using, and I stuffed it down like I did with many of my industry assaults throughout the last 13 years. I told myself that it's Ron Jeremy and not a big deal, right? Well, it is a big deal, and it didn't sit right with me then, and it doesn't sit right with me now. Just because you're a porn girl and you might be in the middle of a drug addiction and some creep comes up behind you and, has the advantage doesn't mean that they have the right to put their penis inside you with no actual consent just because you are in the same industry or maybe you're suffering with drugs at the time. It doesn't give them... Anyway, just because someone is suffering with their own addiction, demons, doesn't give someone else a right to prey on them and take what they think and what they believe is theirs. And in this case, Ron Jeremy felt entitled to my vagina. And the thing that I find so crazy about this is after that actually happened, I saw him numerous times throughout the industry, throughout other events. And he never, maybe this was on purpose, but he never made the point to remember or acknowledge my name. He would always say, "Oh, do I know you? Do I know you? How do I know you? How do I know you?" That was his shtick. you know, to distance himself from the accountability, right? Because he knew what he was doing by not acknowledging me. It was still like, do I know you? Do I not know you? So that was kind of his MO and his game, if you will, for the last 10 years.
Well, it seems like the last 10 years, things have been going very downhill, even though his name was very well known. Because like every industry, the porn industry was very affected by going online. And it looks like he's struggled to move away from it and move into more straight acting roles and play off his name as an icon from the adult entertainment industry, like doing an advert for MTV. And he was trying to get into reality TV. He was on the show Hoarders, Buried Alive. That's a crazy show. And he literally made no effort with his looks whatsoever. And you know things are really bad when he starts doing stand-up comedy gigs. And his jokes are really terrible and sexist, and he also plays the harmonica.
See, you learn so much about a person based on even a harmonica, like, this is your sex life.
I don't know if they're laughing with him or at him. It just reminds me of Bam Margera and what's happened to his career. Because they were once a big star, but now they're just not getting those jobs anymore. And like all of these abusers, he tells his audience exactly who he is. He's not even embarrassed about it. That's probably why he thinks he's innocent.
And I am living proof that anybody can get laid. You know why I know this? Because before I got into the business, I used to masturbate so much. If I had sex with a girl, I felt like I was cheating on my hand.
And that video is in 2018, but by 2023, he looked like this. That's some aging process. And it's the same thing that happened with Weinstein and Bill Cosby and now P. Diddy. Like, so they look feeble in the court. He was, interestingly, arrested in 2018, and he was actually bragging about how he was let go. And apparently there followed a 2-year investigation.
How did you respond to all the charges against the woman suing you? I had to ask that.
Who's there? Who's on the phone?
No, they're saying sexual allegations.
Who's talking? Are you talking?
Yeah.
Oh. You can't. Look, I could sue that guy for wearing brown pants. You know, in this country, you could sue for anything.
Yeah.
You know, it was dropped by the DA.
Yeah. That says it all right there.
And no, I mean, what do you do? I mean, you could sue for a bad fashion statement.
Yeah.
Those pants don't match that shirt. You know, unfortunately, that's how it is. But the DA knocked it down, so it doesn't exist anymore. And then anyone else is free to do that. You know, she get. You know.
Okay, so you're gonna fight that in court anyway.
Well, no, it's not really, because like I said, in America, anybody can sue for anything. That's the greatness of America, and also confusion of America, you know.
Some of Jeremy's earliest and most vocal accusers are from the adult film industry, including former actress Ginger Lynn Allen. Then, in 2017, amid the rise of #MeToo, a new generation of entertainers brought attention to long-standing accusations.
I realized that, you know, Ron Jeremy did a lot of appearances at like sex stores, nightclubs, strip clubs, and a lot of the comments people would make was, what did those people expect going into that environment? Which blew my mind to think that people could justify sexual assault just because a person was being sexual.
While it's not clear if the Jane Does are from the adult entertainment industry, Skolnick and others say it doesn't matter who the alleged victims are.
This is not a one-off event. He said, she said. There are too many of these events, and the prosecution and the indictments that are being brought show that.
Before Jeremy was taken into custody in June, he denied the allegations. "I can't wait to prove my innocence in court," he tweeted.
So just to clarify, Ron Jeremy did sexually abuse you, and Patton
No,
Oswalt
don't say sexually. He was handsy.
Okay.
And picked me up in photos.
It was a really shocking thing to hear that not only was it a commonly known thing in the industry, but it was commonly accepted.
Model Ginger Banks says she personally experienced Ron Jeremy's alleged propensity for harassing women.
He put his hand on my ass through my jeans without my consent, which is basically his MO. He'll do as little as that up to violent crimes too.
So what I noticed is his behavior was completely tolerated, enabled, ignored even by everyone around him in Hollywood, not just in the adult entertainment industry, but the whole entertainment industry in general. And because he managed to get himself declared mentally incompetent, it's like the whole case just went away. There's no reports about it now. And his behavior was completely normalized. He was not held accountable. He was doing it in plain sight. It's all over YouTube. The people that looked up to him, they wanted to get videos or take their picture with him. He wasn't rich. He wasn't powerful. He just had a name, and he still got away with it.
In total, Jeremy is being prosecuted on 28 criminal charges involving 17 women ages 15 to 54. With more women coming forward with allegations against him, it remains to be seen whether their accounts will lead to more criminal charges or if they will become witnesses who offer evidence of a pattern of criminal behavior. Just as women testified in the trials of Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby about allegations for which the defendants were not charged.
Every one of these women have a story that seems to be consistent. The thread is the same. And I would think, much like we saw with the Weinstein prosecution, as well as many of the high-profile sexual assault type cases, that these unindicted claims or cases or allegations will probably end up in the courtroom as part of the prosecution's case.
I've seen way too many comments. He was a good guy. These women set him up. We don't believe the lies. He was a legend. He was a millionaire. He just dressed like a tramp and performed in trash spots. I've seen other people say, why didn't they call the police? The police would have done nothing. It's only because of Me Too that we are hearing about these assaults. These assaults are not sex. Porn is not about sex, it's about transaction, it's about controlling women and taking advantage of them and creating a fantasy that doesn't exist. And it's so annoying that the idea of the man as the sexual predator being a hero is still being promoted on all these podcasts, like Soft White Underbelly and Adam22, who's been promoting himself as some kind of a pimp OnlyFans agent. He interviewed Ginger on No Jumper and it was just about how much money she made. He never acknowledges the downside to the industry. He was apparently doing a reality show where the contestants are competing to sleep with his wife. Ron Jeremy was no hero, playing his harmonica and hanging around outside that bar. And people are always talking about Hollywood and the higher ups, but this is 100% about celebrity culture and what celebrities, just because they have fans, get away with. There's a double standard because someone's a celebrity, they haven't committed the crimes they're accused of when the evidence is so blatantly obvious of what kind of person they are. And it is frustrating that because this case has been settled, it will be dismissed and it won't be widely known that Ron Jeremy is a sexual predator that committed crimes on their premises. Otherwise, why would they pay their victims? These women were apparently drugged. He followed them into the bathroom regularly and molested them. And there were obviously testimonies to verify it from people that worked there. And he even did this to his friend. And hushing it up does not seem like a good idea because people in the comments will continue to say that it's lies and they're after money, when the reality is he was a sleazeball that had no money.